Hi, I'm Peter Tragos, host of the Lawyer You Know podcast and YouTube channel. The saying goes, everyone hates lawyers until you need one. Well, I'm here when you need one to answer your questions and give you insight that you didn't know you needed. Along with my partners, Pete Sardis, the professor, who has a finance and business background, and George Tragos, my dad, and the consigliere, a criminal defense giant, we can answer any questions you have. What's up, everybody? I guess it's technically case by case Friday here. And the case we are covering once again is this Depp v. Heard case. There's always some stuff that follows the verdict that is still interesting. And one of those is appeal, which we've talked about a lot. We'll talk more about appeals. One of them is the lawyer or PR interviews of the victor or the loser, which we've talked a lot about those. And then, of course, we have discussions about whether or not jurors will speak out on these high-profile cases. And we have our first mention of that. So good morning to everyone that decided to join us. If you're here, hit that like button for us so that we can make sure we're hitting the YouTube algorithm appropriately for people to come in and have this discussion about this potential juror that has spoken out on TikTok. I wasn't planning on doing anything about this. But I got so many messages and posts. I talked about it just a little bit on other videos, but today we're going to dive in and we're going to watch every video that this potential juror, and I say potential juror because I'm not sure if it actually is juror number 7, which it's reported to be. But we're going to watch every video he's posted on TikTok. We're going to break it down and look at whether it's true, whether it's not, and whether or not we think this is actually a real juror. So before we get into the videos, to help us all think critically about whether or not this is actually a juror on this case, I see people saying that they loved the Beverly Hills Bar Association video. It was a ton of fun. I loved doing it with Lamore, Bruce, and Emily. And hopefully we'll do more videos with them in the future now that we've gotten that introduction. I talked to Bruce actually afterwards. He called me. He's got a place down here, so we're going to hang out next time he's in my neck of the woods, get some dinner or something. So it was fun. But as we're thinking about, because I think the real point is this juror real or fake, right? That's like the number one thing I'm thinking of when I'm watching these videos. I don't want to give it too much credence until we know it's true, but let's look through it and see the data and information we have, the evidence, so to speak, to see if we think it's true or legit. And here are kind of the arguments in my head for how it could be legit or not. The best argument to me as to how it could be legit this far is no one has come out and said that was not one of the jurors. Juror number 7 has not come out through any media outlets and said that is not me. That person is not a real juror, which they pretty easily could. It's available to them to do that, and they haven't yet. Okay, that's pretty much the best argument that it could be easily refuted. And from historical documents from the beginning of time, if someone was there when something was written and what was written was not true, they would come out against that. And they would be able to snuff that out very quickly, especially if it's within a generation or two or a day or two like this case. So I do think that I haven't seen it yet, but this TikTok page has not really gone as viral as I would expect if it was a juror. Now, it's got 500, 600, 700,000 views. That's a lot of views. Don't get me wrong. But when you just have normal people getting millions of views on their videos, you would think the actual juror with this information would explode. I mean, millions of people are interested in this trial. We have 3,500 people here in the chat immediately on a random Friday morning on a relatively small YouTube channel relative to some of the other people covering it. And this many people are interested. So I would expect it to blow up on a much more viral level if it was legit, but nobody's come out against it yet. But the best arguments against it, literally any of you in the chat could have made these TikTok videos. Any of you in the chat seem to have the information that's discussed here. It has just about the same exact views as a lot of you in the chat. And you are all potential jurors who have been following this case and are smart and are critically thinking about it and trying to figure out why this stuff happened. We're going to see videos on his TikTok about the overall verdict, about what he thought about Amber Heard's testimony, what he thought about Camille Vasquez, what he thought about Elaine, how he was compared to the OJ jury. And then the last one, and the most important to me, is why they gave Amber $2 million. That one is the most interesting to me. I see people saying, James from court say it's catfish and not legit. I'm going to ask you at the end whether you think it's legit or not, and I will give you my opinion as to whether or not I think it's legit. So as I'm sharing the screen, hit that like video. Subscribe to our page if you haven't already. Now's a good time for it as I pull up this TikTok page. And here we are. So let's start out with the first one I saw, at least, which was the juror reacting to the trial.
On the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. And I wish to remain anonymous, but I thought I'd give some insight on my thoughts about the trial. I don't follow pop culture too much, so I haven't really been a fan of Johnny Depp or Amber Heard, so I feel I was able to be pretty unbiased about the whole thing. But from the very beginning, when Amber Heard was testifying, everything just seemed so off with how she kept making eye contact with me, and it made me extremely uncomfortable to where I would no longer look over at her when she was giving her answers. I would just listen intently, and everything she was saying came off like bullshit. And I wasn't following anything on TikTok during the whole trial, and I was scrolling through after the trial, and blows my mind on how every single person seemed to be commenting on how weird it was. So, good news for Johnny Depp. That was my gut feeling after all the information in the trial. But Amber Heard, what a crazy woman.
Okay, so during that video, he's saying all the right things. I'm not a Johnny Depp fan. I wasn't following this stuff on TikTok. I only looked after. And then he said a lot of things that a lot of people agreed with. It was weird how she was making eye contact. I didn't really believe it. It seemed like BS what she was saying. Fine. Okay. But literally anybody could have made that video. So I'm definitely far from convinced after video number one. I also think as we're listening to this video, think about how he talks about Elaine, how he talks about Camille. Does this seem like a guy that would have given a compromised verdict? I know we're going to talk about it a little bit, but so far it seems like it would have been $100 million for Johnny Depp and nothing for Amber Heard based on video number one. But let's see if that changes as we continue to listen. All right, I'm going to play them in the order that I heard them.
This from a place of empathy and understanding. I'm not sure if you guys noticed how much Amber Heard was gaslighting Johnny Depp. She could have never admit she was wrong, and you can even tell with how she spoke, to him in the recording. She never admitted she really did anything, and she carried that on to the trial. And I feel like we as humans naturally take our own personal truths to the grave when we can't admit we were wrong. So I feel that's what her team's doing now, is doing a smear campaign to, not admit that they were guilty. Because if they were to just kind of cower down and accept the verdict in a way to the public eye, it can be seen as an admission of guilt. So I think this is just their way of trying to, claw and tooth their way into, trying to save dignity in some form for Amber Heard.
So he loses me even more here on this video. He used the word guilty. Not once was that word used in the courtroom. Not once was it say, find this person guilty at all. So that to me makes no sense. And he's very closely following everything, including Elaine's interviews now. And he just has so many negative things to say, which again is not unlike the majority of the public. So I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's what he's saying is not true, but nothing he said so far makes me think he's an actual juror. All right. Let's hear what he says when they were
I think it's
compared to the
fair
OJ
to
jury.
compare the OJ Simpson trial to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial due to the fact that somebody lost their life in the Simpson trial, and the verdict was far more controversial than this trial. So I think in the terms of pop culture history, OJ's is going to be remembered forever, and I think this one is going to, not have as quite the culture impact. But that being said, kind of on a side note, now that I kind of have a platform to express my voice for the first time in my life, I just want to use this opportunity to try to express empathy and kindness. And I think we as humans, and especially on the internet, we're so quick to bully. And in case of Amber Heard's situation, what she did was malicious, but I don't think by any means this gives us a right to express hate towards her or to bully her. And, take with that
This is literally the guy that just said everything she said on the stand was BS. He literally just said that.
what you will, but I think the secret of life is love. And if you can show love and compassion for others, it goes a long way. And I think it helps you build good karma. So to any of those who bully or say mean things to other people, I hope that you can change and, turn a leaf and express kindness in situations of where you feel hate rise from within you. And if you can choose kindness, I think it's really, really going to change your life, and you're going to see how it can impact others in a positive way. So, yeah, spread love, be kind, love others.
All right. That one had a whole lot of nothing about the trial. All right. Let's get to what he thought about Camille Vasquez.
So great is that she seemed to be so much more prepared than any of the other lawyers in the trial. She always seemed to know what questions to ask and always was 5 steps ahead. And it was like she'd lead him down this little rabbit hole to catch him in a trap by just asking the right question at the right time to get the right reaction. She was really respectful to everybody. She held herself well. And I just think she was really sharp and knew what she was doing and did it with purpose and integrity. And all the business side stuff aside, she wasn't too bad on the eyes.
All right. So now he's talking about Camille, literally saying every single thing every other person said. People coming at me in the chat saying you can say that it was malicious and still not hate her. You can say it was not credible, which I've said multiple times on this channel. You can say it was with malice, with actual malice, but saying that everything coming out of somebody's mouth is BS is not really nice, I would say. Doesn't sound like somebody who's just trying to be nice and love other people. You can say it's not credible. We can agree to disagree on that. But now he's talking about Camille Vasquez, and he says, she was really sharp. She was really prepared. She seemed steps ahead. Literally everybody has said the same thing. And then he finishes with, she's not easy on the eyes. Okay. Literally sounds like anybody else. It is possible that this is really juror number 7. So I don't want to say I am positive that it's not him, but I am skeptical. I'll just say I am skeptical that it's him. I think it seems like a very pro Johnny Depp person, which there are a lot of those out there. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And I actually agree with a lot of what he said about Camille and about Elaine and about what their team's doing and about Amber Heard's testimony. I agree with a lot of that. I want to say I don't know why somebody would create this, but I guess Elaine asked it in all of her cross-examinations. People want their 15 minutes of fame. Let's listen to the last one to me that made the least sense, and that's why give $2 million to Amber?
If you remember, she was also suing Johnny Depp in this trial for defamation due to statements made by Johnny's lawyers, who were stating that Amber roughed up the apartment to make it look way worse for police. Unfortunately, the fact of her doing that or not doing that cannot be proven, but it could prove.
Which is not the standard, right? So that's the first thing. The fact of her doing that or not doing that could not be proven. That's not the standard at all. Now, jurors can misunderstand the law, but in my opinion, he's admitting that they totally misunderstood the law in coming down with this verdict in favor of Amber Heard, which if he is the real juror, maybe he's giving Johnny Depp some points for appeal. because that's not the way the law states it.
Prove that it did defame her in ways due to those statements made by Johnny's lawyers.
They proved it did defame her in ways due to the statements of Johnny's lawyers. He's not saying anything. He's just saying words at this point. They're not making sense to me, at least.
So you might be wondering, why not just award Johnny $13 million instead of $15 million and giving Amber $2 million? And it just comes down to accountability and holding both parties accountable for what was done wrong, which brought this case up.
It comes down to accountability and holding each party accountable for what they did in this case. I don't understand what that means, because they didn't give Johnny any punitive damages. And if you look in the comments, which I've seen some people do deep dives in the comments, some people have sent me some of the comments. He said, oh, we knew about the statutory cap for punitive damages, but we wanted to send a message with that $5 million. Well, you know how else you could have sent a message? Giving Amber $0 or $1. So it doesn't make sense that it was a compromise verdict that also wanted to send a message, especially based on the explanations that he gave. I think a real juror would have a better explanation as to why they gave Amber Heard $2 million, but I could be wrong, right? I am in no way saying that I am positive about which way I lean on this, because jurors can sound all different kinds of ways. They can look at things very differently. There could be another juror that thinks, no, that's not why we came up with the decision. In my opinion, we came up with the decision for this reason, but they all agreed for whatever reason. Again, so I want to put that out there. This absolutely could be a real juror, but at this point, I am very skeptical and I would lean to no. But let me know what you think in the comments if you think this is a real juror or not. I see people posting about the anonymity for 1 year. Yes, that's fine. That means that the public can't get their identity. It does not mean the jurors can't speak out. The jurors are allowed to speak out. They are absolutely allowed to speak out. So if he is doing this, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. Oh, there was one other thing. Let me share that again. There was one other thing I'll show. This was basically the proof that he showed that he was actually the juror. Can you show a juror's identification like a tag? So here's the juror badge, which has a lot of things blurred out. Photo from when I got my summons ages ago. Okay? Take for that what you will. To me, I would think a juror would have, if they really wanted to prove it, they'd be able to. I also had somebody message me on Instagram. Let me see if I can find her here real quick. Vanessa Blair messaged me and said she was at the courthouse. They messaged this person on TikTok and said, hey, send us a picture or FaceTime us so we can see that it's really you. We can confirm it and tell people it really is a juror. We'll keep you anonymous, whatever. And they read the message and didn't send them a FaceTime or whatever. So again, I don't know. He will have more opportunities to prove that he is the actual juror. But I do want, we'll post a poll on YouTube now, real or fake. Rachel, if you can hop over to YouTube and post a poll on there, and we will give the results on here later. So do you think this is a real juror or a fake juror? Let me know. At this point, my vote would be for fake, but don't let that sway your vote, as it never does. You guys are very strong in your opinions, which I always appreciate. And if you like this video with that strong opinion, hit the like button. Now we're going to get to some questions here, and then we will talk more about that poll at the end. Lisa F. Saw you and Emily on Zoom yesterday. Please do a stream together. We will. I reached out to her and told her I'd love to do one. We are going to make it happen. She's crazy busy, so we'll get it. We'll get it done at some point. Also, please have your dad on more, him too, and learn so much from you both. Will do, Lisa F. Thank you. Another one from Lisa F. Peter, thank you for your coverage throughout the trial. There were days I needed to brace myself for your cold splash of law logic. My heart was so invested in the trial, but I forced myself to watch your unbiased take. It hurts sometimes. I've learned so much. Thank you for always being straight. You are very welcome, Lisa. And hopefully, and this is what I do in our cases too, right? In the cases we take to trial, you've got to look at it for all sides. You shouldn't be shocked or surprised no matter what the outcome is, right? If Johnny Depp would have won $1, if you were listening and following our channel, you wouldn't have been shocked. And you could have taken some positives from that and some negatives as we explained kind of how we would look at a $1 verdict in favor of Johnny Depp, still winning in the court of public opinion, getting that piece of paper saying what she said was false and made with actual malice. If it was only $1, he still would have gotten that win. But the 10 million plus the 5 and why 5 million is different from just giving 350, even though there's a cap there, how it sends a message. That's all important stuff to understand. So thank you for the kind words, Lisa F., and for the super chat. Mine's Megapine. Good afternoon from the UK. I have just seen a video on YouTube stating that all Amber Heard scenes in Aquaman 2 are being deleted. Are you aware? No, I am not. But I also saw on Twitter that you have no idea. I mean, we have no idea if any of this stuff is true. But that the Washington Post is actually putting a little note at the end of their op-ed that says basically Johnny Depp or Amber Heard says this is not about Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp won a defamation trial based on this op-ed. So we'll see. We'll see. Mo, any of us could make a video and say that we were a juror, mainly because we watched it from a juror's point of view. Not sure I believe him. Exactly, Mo. Exactly. A ton of you could have done this. Rugin Garcia, good morning from Long Beach, California. Maybe you tuned in to the Beverly Hills Bar Association video yesterday. Julia Hunt, today's Daily Mail in the UK have a large article about this. They seem to think it is true, and it's possible, and it's content, and all these content creators, me included, are talking about it. I wasn't planning on talking about it because I'm just being honest. Initially, I thought it was obviously fake, if I'm just going to say that. I'm trying to keep an open mind and listen to some people that were in the courtroom and say it could be true. Sounds kind of like him. There was a white male in his 20s. Could be him. Could be juror number 7. I heard him say yes or something at some point. It sounded like his voice. So it's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible. And if the Daily Mail thinks it's right, more power to him. Haley Morris, I appreciate your content. The Captain Jack Sparrow intro. Yeah, every time we do a Johnny Depp Amber Heard video, that's going to be the intro that you see. Daria Smay. If we get to 200,000 subscribers, can you dress up as Mira? No, I don't think so. Is that the next milestone though? Is 2,000? Nobody celebrates 150. I'm kind of trying to get to 150. Azam Nuraza Jumbari. I love your breakdown on this. Very educational. Thank you. Industry Rejan. So somebody messaged me about you and said, I think you're pronouncing her name wrong. I think it's in the Shra or something. Rajan. If I'm saying it wrong, I assume you would correct me. I don't mean any offense if I'm saying it incorrectly. I love seeing your comments. Every time I see your picture and starting with the doc, I know it's going to be a good comment and a good question. So I enjoy it. And I do my best with all the names. As you can tell, some of them is a struggle bus for me. Hi, Peter. Interesting. From a psych perspective, someone could create this type of video for vicarious thrill, feeling connected to the global phenomenon. Very contradictory in his statements too. I agree with you. It doesn't take a lot. It's not hard for us to understand why somebody would create a video like this, right? Katie Foreman. I think Amber Heard's PR team has been polluting social media with fake points to muddy the water and discredit JD and his supporters. And I've heard of some very concerning hashtags that potentially are trending for Amber Heard. Tina Fight. Off subject, but I just watched a clip during the Scottish security guard's testimony, and they did a portion of the Australia audio of Johnny talking in the audio. Why couldn't Amber's be played? The judge made that decision, and I don't know why. Kennedy Askren. Elaine mentioned text between Amber and Johnny's assistant admitting to kicking her. Why wouldn't these alleged messages be used in court since other messages were? Is that grounds for an appeal? I don't think so. They were purely hearsay. It's Stephen Deuters. We saw his wife take the stand and then get booted for, looking at social media. We heard Amber's team read this in as a proffer, as something that was kept out to protect it for appeal. But I think it was purely hearsay. Stephen Deuters was going to say, Johnny cried when I told him you kicked him in the back. That doesn't say that I saw Johnny kick you in the back, but it's definitely offered to prove that Johnny kicked her in the back. And it's not Johnny even admitting that he kicked her in the back. It's just admitting Johnny cried when Deuters told Johnny, and assuming Deuters heard that from Amber. It's hearsay within hearsay within hearsay, and it's just not reliable. So I can understand why that was kept out, and I think it was appropriate that it was kept out. Doug D, can you add maybe a poll to the poll? Oh, add a maybe to the poll. Rachel, if you haven't already posted the poll, add a maybe. But I think fake or not, at this point, what's your feeling? And I understand we can be wrong on this. This is not life or death. Raven Willow Dragon, thank you for the super sticker. Emma Oh my gosh, I made a live. Hello from Ireland. Hello. Hold my beer. This juror wrote in the comment that they were told about 350 cap and they gave 5 million for the public eye. That's sus. Credibility gone. I agree that that is sus. I agree. I don't think that that's true. But I could be wrong. Again, this is not stuff I can guarantee. Okay. Carmine Vesio. What are punitive damages? They are damages that send a message, that punish wrongdoing, that try to dissuade other people from acting in a similar way to this bad actor. So they are purely to punish, hence punitive. SNR. I was set on starting PhD political science applications this year, and you and your dad are seriously swaying me towards the law school now. Such inspirations. Thank you, SNR. You can do so much with a law degree, even if you don't end up practicing law. It's Rickus. All I'm saying is we just spent 6 weeks learning about the importance of fact-finding and evidence, and as soon as the trial ended, people are falling for so much false info without any research. A very good point, but what's important to realize is people will usually latch on to something they like and agree with. So this is what they want a juror to say and be like. I really think that. Most people want the jurors to think that they all believed Amber was telling BS. They all believed Johnny and they were supporting Johnny. I think it could be true, but I think that's adding to the intrigue here, is that this is what a lot of people want a juror to sound like. Bob Cousins, how do we even know that Peter is a real lawyer? LOL, just kidding. Well, Bob, I'm glad you asked. You can check me out. TragosLaw.com is our actual real law firm website. And if there are people on here that have hired us to handle their car accident cases or their med mal cases or their injury cases. So if you have one of those, you can call us and we will prove we are real lawyers. And on Instagram and Twitter, at Tragos Law. Check us out there. Give us a follow on there. Brianna25. Peter, I know we saw what we saw, and I know she was impeached 7 ways from Sunday. But in Ben Chu's shoes, do you worry you impeached a real DV survivor or no? Love your honesty and integrity in your covers. Thank you. No, I don't think he does. I don't think he believes that. From where I sit, and I don't know the case as well as he does, there's a chance. I think it's a small chance because, again, I did not find her very credible. But I think being in the same room as Johnny Depp for this many years and hearing his story, I think Ben Chu absolutely believes Johnny Depp, and he does not fear that he made a mistake or that he, really crossed or crushed a DV victim. I really don't. Ariana Mejia. Your content has been so helpful throughout the trial. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. Pamela, I sent you a TikTok on IG messages VIP. I saw that. Yeah. And I referenced that. And a lot of people were sending me some of the messages. And to me, it really, the him getting in the comments also makes it seem more fake. White Rags with a big shot here. Thank you so much. I was in a domestic abuse situation, was isolated and had to connect an elaborate scheme to get out. She had freedom of movement. Makes no sense. A lot of victims of different kinds of issues in their life have come forward, and a lot of them have different stories, right? Everyone's not the same. Everyone doesn't have pictures or videos or medical records, but some have pictures, some have videos, some have medical records. A lot of them don't have witnesses or people they talk to about it. Some of them do. But when it really comes down to it, I think that the corroborative evidence is really important, but the victim has to be believed. And Bruce Rivers said on the video that witnesses have to be scrutinized, and their testimony has to go through scrutiny, and the jury has to determine whether or not they believe them. And he's a criminal defense lawyer like my dad. And so they're always cross-examining victims, sometimes child victims, male, female victims, whatever it may be. And if the victim's testimony is credible, even after being cross-examined and going through the scrutiny, they can still win their case. And they do a lot. So White Rags, thank you again for this super chat. Andrea Lewis, love your hoodies. Looks so soft and comfy. Is it sold in your merch? Yes, it is. And I got to be honest with you. So we don't make them, obviously, but whoever does, they are really high quality. It is really soft. It's not too heavy. I love it. It's incredibly comfortable. The one thing I would say is if you're between sizes, they maybe run a little bit small. This is a large, and I'm not exactly a large human, but the shirt I got was a large. It's a little tight. as well. I mean, it's definitely wearable. It's not like crazy tight, but if you're between sizes, maybe order a size up. And we will post the merch link in the chat, and it's in the description of every video. Solo Ono. He answers a lot of questions in the comments of the TikToks. It would be interesting if you could consider them. There's like a million. I looked through some of them, and I spoke about some of them already early in the video about how he says they knew about the punitive caps, but they still wanted to send a message. given any indication that would differentiate him from anybody else that followed this trial to prove he's a juror from what I saw. A lot of people are sending him in my DMs. I only have about 15 more minutes, so I'm not gonna have a couple hours to go through all of them. Aura Fly, thanks again for your coverage and explanation of this trial. Will you be covering any new cases? If so, which ones do you recommend we look into? Yes, I'm going to be covering the Vallow Daybell murder cases out in Idaho. Yeah, Idaho. So check those out. I have a series of videos on those. I'm going to keep following the Deshaun Watson case because of just my interest in the NFL. He's being accused of improper touching, dealing with massage therapists. And then in my home state, we've got Gabby Petito in those civil cases. And then Dan Markell, the FSU law professor, who there was a conspiracy to commit murder. He was murdered execution style, hitman for hire, dealing with his in-laws' family. One of her family members has just been recently indicted. The third person involved has been convicted. So that's 3 convictions now: shooter, driver, and connecting piece between the in-laws' family and the murderers. So very interesting cases. So those 3 for sure. Pete's still covering Balwani and Fucci. So we will keep following those and others that you guys recommend. Shauna Osteen. I believe Elaine thought she would walk out of this trial being the next Gloria Alfred, famous woman's attorney. Instead, she looks like a fool. Thoughts? I don't think she's doing herself any favor with these interviews. Mo, why juror number 7 and not his real juror number? I thought other people were saying he was juror number 7. I haven't heard him say he was juror number 7, but I could be wrong. Paula Graham, why isn't there a process to review jury forms for completeness prior to being read in open court? There is, and it's to give it to the judge to look at. And the judge is the checker. Vamp, Peter pulled an AH, look me up, LOL. But you guys are allowed to and encouraged to, so it's different. Industry Dre John, hi again, LOL. You are actually the only law tuber so far who has pronounced my name correctly. Look at me, and I'm questioning myself. Well done. My pleasure to participate on your streams. Would also love to talk with you more. I'm starting my own YouTube channel, Industry Rajon. I will come on your channel when you start it, as long as I can add to the conversation. If we're talking about something legally, I'm happy to come on there when I have some time. Again, sometimes I only have 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, but I will come on there and support your channel as much as I can. Thank you for supporting mine. Joe Mendoza, have you heard or litigated against Sweet James? No, I have not. Rujan Garcia, Edward Scissorhands for 150K subs. I don't know if I want to dress up again. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe at 250. I don't know about 150. Lord Cam, thank you. And I say 250 because I may never get there. Josephine, mainstream media, we should just send out anyone accused of a crime directly to jail because other people do commit the crime. And if they get off, then it will harm other victims of that crime. Woof. This is what we call a slippery slope argument that Josephine is sarcastically explaining here. And she's right. We've got to be careful about slippery slopes. Azam Nurza Jumbari. I want to watch you collab with Emily. You make me interested in law. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was a teenager. Now I'm a teacher. I can still learn, right? Absolutely. And learning about this stuff can make you a better teacher. No doubt about it. I will do everything I can to get with Emily. I promise. It will be hard. She's a big shot, but I will do everything I can to get on a stream with her, either on this channel or on hers, whichever she wants to do. Lane Seawright. Did we ever figure out which part of the verdict form the jury put $0? I'm curious if they flipped on the 2 million or the 10 million. You're right. I haven't heard that. My guess would be the 2 million, but I'm not sure. Soul Music. I so admire you and your dad. Blessed family. Thank you. Debbie Faison Cook. Hi, a question I haven't heard anyone else ask. What happens if the jury is polled and someone says no, hung jury? Not a hung jury, but if the jury's polled and someone says no, they send them back to keep deliberating. This is a great question because that's the point of polling them, to make sure nobody felt bullied out there and like a nasty rogue juror saying, you better vote the way I'm telling you to vote. But when they get in open court, they feel more comfortable with the judge and the bailiff to say, no, that's actually not my verdict. Then they'll send them back. And if there are issues, the bailiff may step in, the judge may step in, the lawyers, to try to figure out what that issue is. Great question. Thanks for asking it. Todd Cresting, golf sidebar. Happy to, as I'm playing later this afternoon, as long as the monsoon that's supposed to be coming our way doesn't hit us. What's your handicap? Do you tend to hit slice, hook, tops, or behind the ball? We'll donate comp Zoom lesson. Thanks for the great coverage. Todd, I would love, I've got a golf simulator in my house, so we could definitely set up a Zoom golf lesson. I'm an 8 handicap. I hit fades now. That's my shot of choice. And I try to avoid the left miss. So if I'm going to miss, it's probably more of a push or a slice going right. I tend to hit it more thin than fat if I do miss. And I'm just working on getting better. Short game, chipping around the greens is by far the worst part of my game. The guy that helps me with my game says tee to green, I play like a scratch golfer. And around the greens, I'm like a 20 handicap. So I need to work on that. Steph Eckstein. He doesn't follow pop culture, but he has a TikTok, right? Just found your channel and instantly subscribed. Thank you. Thanks for what I can already tell is great content. Steph, thank you so much. Go check out some other videos and join us. Hit that reminder bell because we do some random lives. I am a full-time practicing lawyer, so there's not like a time I go live every single day or anything like that, but I try to hit as much as I can. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tragos Law because that's where a lot of the content comes from. I'd love to hear from you. I'll try to remember and recognize your name when you pop up here more. Thanks for joining and subscribing. It's fun. Sherry and Max, please offer zippered hoodies. I live in them. I will look into that. Diana Sanchez, we're offering hats now. I haven't ordered one, but I'm going to. Good morning. Yesterday during your Elaine interview commentary, you mentioned that it could lead to grounds for AH to appeal. Can you explain? I think that was a question somebody asked. Elaine's not going to do anything in her interviews that's going to lead to Amber Heard getting a better appeal. You can't create your issues like that. Now, jurors coming out and talking could absolutely make a difference, but her interviews are not going to do anything to help her own appeal. Lord Cam, listen to the verdict when they ask juror number 7. Oh, that's a good point. But that is the only time. And I don't trust myself enough to hear their voice say, yes, that's my verdict and compare it to this. But maybe I will do that now that you said it. Somebody send me a clip if you have it. Mr. Turn Up the Party. Pour me a glass of whatever's on the table behind you. Wendy Adelson needs to be arrested, at least on a federal conspiracy charge. Well, it has to be federal because, as you probably know, Mr. Turn Up the Party, she was given immunity to testify in the state case. Charlie Adelson, her brother, as you probably already know, has been indicted. So let's see what comes of that. Senzubin, if Amber's appeal gets through, will there be another 6 weeks? And if JD wins, can he be awarded more than $15 million? The Last Kingdom dress up at $150K. Now that's more speaking my language. And also easier. If she wins her appeal, it could potentially be a retrial and it could be another 6 weeks if they call all the same witnesses. They don't have to, but it could. Bill Weber, when AH left the stand, people thought she stormed out, but the bailiff was moving. As soon as the judge dismissed her, looked like she planned to leave before. I got to be honest with you. I agree with you. That's what I've said. Basically, everybody seems to disagree with me. I've seen that happen a million times in trial. It's not a big deal. If the juror is also being dismissed and they're taking a break, Amber, the parties walk out different doors all the time. They use a different bathroom than the jurors. That's just how it is in trial. Jay White Oak, how can Elaine trash everyone, including the jury? She shouldn't be, but there's not going to be any real repercussion. Azam, you read my full name just now. Love it. Thanks. Azam Noraza Jumbari. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Steve Cass, did the jury put $0 for Amber and the judge rejected that and sent them back? So they didn't. I don't know if they put $0. Actually, that's a good point, Cass, because if they left it blank, the judge has to tell them to go put it back. But if they put $0, you're right. If they're going to say it's defamation, there has to be damages. So therefore, there has to be at least $1. That's why I think it was Amber's $2 million part that was left blank. Brianna, 25. Since we're all talking about career changes and expansions, I'm an insurance adjuster and I seriously want to get my next CE credits in law. It's all because of you and Emily. You both make me want to be a better investigator. That's awesome, Brianna. And if we ever have a case together, I'm not sure if you do auto claims, but if we ever have a case together, that would be awesome. And let me know that you get in the comments here. And we've already hung out without us even knowing. All right. Quick poll update here. This is interesting. Because all the other polls I've gotten have been like 97% in favor of Johnny and 3% or 2% or 1% in favor of Amber. So we have a poll, whether you guys believe this juror is real or fake and was really on the jury or not. And this is a YouTube poll. The answer is 28% of you think that this is a real juror. 72% of you think this is a fake juror. Very interesting. I will let you know if it changes majorly before we sign off. Dr. Industry Rajan is back. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch and continue to support you, of course. I plan to do more forensic stuff, so I'm sure our paths will cross. Thank you again. Absolutely. Asia Robbins. It doesn't make sense that after 6 weeks of no TikTok, his For You page immediately had Depp content with people agreeing with everything he thought. Melanie, could juror comments give cause for appeal? Yes, they could, as we saw in the Ghislaine Maxwell case, but even that wasn't enough, so we'll see. Yumna Siraj, could Stephen Duders have been called to testify about the message? Would that make the message be admissible? Only for impeachment purposes, but I think no, because it's still hearsay. He still heard it from Amber. He didn't see Johnny kick her. So I still think even if he would have testified, it would not have come in, but I don't know. That changes the trial, obviously. So Kooky Cat saying there was no juror number 7. I thought there was, but okay. I don't know. That's what people have been saying. So who knows? All this stuff, honestly, if I don't watch it in the courtroom, you guys know how I feel about it. And you know how I had to do that correction video last time. I'm just saying what people told me. This is all purely hearsay. You guys wanted us to talk about it, so we're talking about it. It's not the same as when we actually see it in court. Influences by Adriana Jacob. In a defamation lawsuit against Taylor Lorenz, this trial and all of your coverage has been gold as I wait potentially for my case to move forward. Very interesting. Jerry Kuduklis. I should be able to say this one since it's Greek. Thank you, Jerry, for the new membership. And for anybody else that doesn't know, in the description page, you can become a member for our page. We do members-only merch. We do some members-only chats and comments and polls and things like that. So if you want to join, check out the link and join the crew. Hi, Cariz. What is an appeal? How does it work? What is the step-by-step process? Sorry, I'm not from the U.S. and don't understand it. An appeal is when you take what happened in the trial. You take issues or things that happen that you think were incorrect legally, and you ask a higher court, a panel of judges, to take another look at it. You give the facts and what happened on the record at trial. You give case law that says, look, this is not how it was supposed to go. In other cases, this is how it went. This needs to be overturned. We need to do this trial again and in the interest of justice. And then the appellate court applies their standard of the law and the fact, and they look at it and they give deference to the fact finder, meaning the jury, and the judge, the trial court, and then they make a decision whether or not to overturn this verdict. Carrie N. Jury instructions were confusing. Did nobody explain it to them? We knew from LawTube that if he won, she should lose. Maybe they didn't understand. Yes, somebody explained it to them, meaning the judge read it to them, but that's about it. Sherry and Max are new members. New members only merch out this weekend, posting it on the community page. So make sure you check that out. Just polled jurors 6, 10, 15, 16, 22, 27, 29. Jury polled. Who knows then? Which one does this guy sound like? Candace Chambers, have you received any movie deal offers? Not yet. I'm just still waiting. My inbox is open. Stan Anderson, Miss Heard wore the same dress to the final day as she wore to obtain the restraining order. What was she trying to convey? Interesting. Maybe she was trying to, maybe it's like her lucky dress, like Lucky Socks, where she felt like a winner in it before. So she was trying to bring it again to see if she was going to win. All right. Pretty much perfect timing here for me. Oh, juror number 7, based on where they were sitting. So I guess it would be the last juror. He was the foreman, and when he spoke up, I was shocked at how deep his voice was. Mid-20s white male. That's why I'm not writing off the TikTok guy. That's what Vanessa Blair said, who was actually in the courtroom. So it's juror number 7 and where they were sitting. So I guess the last juror, also the foreman. So he spoke a little bit more than anybody else. And there you go. It's possible that it's him. So that's even more, swaying people probably towards it. The Pool Boy 789 is a new member. Congrats on 115K subs somebody just sent. That's awesome. I didn't know we hit that number. That's really fun. So if you guys haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. 9 is the last juror. Somebody's saying this chat is wild. So, people are giving us the answers we're looking for. I will have fun golfing later. It's not still for a couple hours for me. Got a couple appointments to get to now, but thank you everybody for joining. Hit that like button on the way out if you haven't already. And who knows what the next video will be on, but we will be back maybe this weekend, maybe next week. Who knows? Thank you all for joining us today. It was fun. As always, you guys are the best, and these are incredibly fun to do with all of you. But that's all we've got today. So I'm out of here. Until next time.